Hi everyone, it's Brian here at the Peace of Eden Homestead Garden. Today we are going to take you through step by step how to dig up potatoes and get them laid out for curing. So I hope you'll join me and come see what we're up to. Here we have our potato bed. Now we waited a little bit longer than you probably should. Actually, Bobby Bison wanted to be here for this, and unfortunately due to our schedules he was unable to be here for this, so I waited and waited, and now it's supposed to rain tonight, so we got to get these potatoes pulled out of the ground and set up to cure. So first things first, I'm going to get this irrigation line that I put in out of the way, and then we'll start digging. Before I start taking this irrigation line out, I swear I'm like a kid at Christmas. I just want to see if we got anything in here that's worth the trouble. This soil is really sandy, so I'm hoping that we have some nice potatoes in here. But ooh, there's a nice red one right there. Oh man. Well, I know for sure we have at least one in there. I swear it's like digging for gold. You just gotta love it. It's not as big as I hope, but maybe we'll find some more bigger ones in the rest of the potato bed. So let me get to taking this irrigation line out, and then we'll get to really digging. Alright, to dig your potatoes you can use either a pitchfork, a digging fork, or a spade. Our soil is super loose here, so I think I'm going to be able to get away with using a spade. The main reason you don't want to use a spade is because you can cut them in half, but in my opinion, with a pitchfork or a digging fork, you can jab into them too. So either way, you're going to have to use those ones right away rather than curing them. So I think the spade does a lot better at making quick work of it. So I'm going to get started with the spade and see how that goes. If I have to, I'll switch over to one of the other utensils. Now when you dig potatoes, you don't want to dig right into the plant. You want to be back a ways so that your potatoes don't get cut in half by your shovel. So I'm going to come back here a foot or two from the plant, dig in deep, start working my way around this plant, bring it up. Now that it's loose, we come in here and see what we got under there. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. Little baby one. Well, that's a little disappointing. However, considering the fact that we weren't here full time and we had a really dry spring, I'm not terribly surprised that we didn't get a huge harvest. But maybe ones further down in the bed did, so I'll just keep going. Well, unfortunately, we only got about 3 or so pounds of potatoes from our 2 pounds of seed potatoes we put in. And some of those potatoes are even smaller than the seed potatoes we put in. It's one of the good things about homesteading and diversifying is that you don't count on one particular thing to give you everything you need. You diversify. We've still got beans and squash and tomatoes and apples and peaches and lots of good stuff to have for the winter, and we will still have chickens and eggs and hopefully soon cattle and milk and all that fun stuff. So just because one crop lets you down doesn't give you any reason to be discouraged. You just got to pick yourself up and try again next year and make some improvements on your last step. So I think I'll take you over to the shed, and even though this is a pretty meager harvest, I'll still show you how I want to cure these. Other than the root cellar, which is too humid for me to cure these potatoes in, this garden shed is about the darkest place on the homestead. There's no windows in it. There's a little vent up there and no windows on the door either. So it'll be nice and dark, and that'll keep your potatoes from trying to sprout. Now I set up some sawhorses here, and this frame was actually leaned up behind the barn with chicken wire nailed to it, but it's going to be a great thing to use for drying these potatoes out because the air can get all around them. So I will take our meager little harvested potatoes and I'll spread them out on this chicken wire and then turn them every couple of days. And once they've dried for about a week or so, then we can wrap them up in newspaper and store them on a single layer in the root cellar. So I'll get to that now. Not exactly the bountiful harvest I was hoping for. I figured we'd have this just about full, but there's nothing to be too upset about. Live and learn. Anyway, I did want to show you. You see, I don't take the dirt off the potatoes. I mean, like, I try to brush as much off as I can, but you have to be real careful with that because you can see right here where even just with my thumb, it can scrape the skin right off of the potatoes. Now, if you eat them now, which I will with this one, then that's not a big deal. And it's nice because the skins are nice and tender. But if you want to store them, you need to cure them in a good dark place with low humidity and turn them every few days and let the skins harden off. And then you can store them a lot longer. Well, after setting this all up, I went in and took a little break, and I got to thinking that although I would have liked to have shown you guys how to cure these potatoes, there's such a small harvest here that I know my mom just absolutely loves newly freshly dug potatoes and how soft or how tender their skins are and stuff. And so I'm going to take these inside and clean them up and then let them dry off, and I am going to take some to my mom so she can enjoy them, and at least we'll have something very positive out of this small little harvest. Just a side note, if you want a little bitty harvest to look like a great big harvest, put it in a little bitty bowl and take a close-up picture. Here's our beautiful little harvest of tender red skin potatoes from our very own garden. It may not be much, but it's something to be happy about. I'm going to go ahead and weigh these, and then I'll let them dry out and store them in a paper bag. And I'll take some down to my mom and let her appreciate them, and the rest I will share with Bobby Bison and Homer the Homesteader and Zweidelehi.